Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and for this week's video I wanted to do a couple things. So the first thing I wanted to do is show you how my planner setup is going. It's kind of one thing to sort of talk about it and show you a brand new planner empty. I think it's another to kind of show you how the process is going. And then at the very end of the year, probably mid to late December, I will show you this as filled out as I got it. So this is the Midori B6 2023 planner. And what I did is I drew a rabbit on here, and then inside I decided to draw things that rabbits like to eat, just for fun. I kind of want to do a little bit more botanicals and things like that, so I thought this would be a fun excuse. So I just doodled with some colored pencils. I am using the Faber-Castell Polychromos. Here's some chamomile. Carrots, I know they eat carrot tops. Here's a radish, they eat radish tops. So I decorated the 2023 top, and this is marigolds. And then it gives you the month prior of the previous year. So I drew some wheatgrass, and then below here is kind of a great little notes section. So I wrote out all my resolutions for 2023. So they're in the current planner I'm using, and I can constantly refer back. Plus I have the note as to what my previous planner was, because years later, all these little note things are going to help me and remind me of what I was doing, where I was at. So this is what January of 2023 looks like. So I drew some nasturtiums. Again, this is just all colored pencil. And I'm kind of using 3 different pens. So this light brown right here, this is the Copic multi-liner. This is brown. The dark brown, that is the Sakura Micron in sepia. And then this blue here is from Le Pen. And I currently have this pen with a folded metal pen top for calligraphy on this pen. So I wasn't using this pen as a pen. As this pen. I was using it as a calligraphy pen. I will show you plans. I will link to a post I put up on my webpage where you can make your own folded metal calligraphy pen with templates. So I started using this because of the turquoise. And so I have in here everything I've drawn. I have all the videos I did. I have notes, the 2 sketchbooks I'm currently in, a commission, and the 5 videos I have made so far. I've done prompt lists. This is kind of what my month looked like. So this is February, and you can see I've got a ways to go to fill it up, but this is how this is going to look. Every month there's going to be a little doodle. I'm going to put in everything I'm drawing, how many sketchbooks I'm currently working in, if I'm making money, what I'm doing with that, the videos. So that's for the monthly spreads. Now, this one goes into January of 2024. I probably won't use this, but make notes what my next planner is going to be, so I have a note of that for myself. And so it goes into line page. So I have my budget so far of what I've spent, and I will get into this more when I go to do my mediums purchase in the summertime, how much I'm making. And then I've started making notes. So the little microscope I bought, how to use that, my camera with my new computer, the editing software I purchased, some little tips. Now there is a ton of lined paper in here. There's probably way more lined paper in here than I could ever use just for notes on editing. So I may have some video notes in here, so that's sort of encapsulated and kept. But if you are a student and you're only taking 1 or 2 classes, just because these squares are kind of small, this might be a really great school planner just because of this huge notes section. And then in the back I have all my rabbit food ideas, and I'm making little notes as to what I've used so I don't double up. And then there's 16 sheets or 32 pages front and back that are just blank. So I haven't used these, but these might be great for doing composition, layout, little thumbnail sketches. If there's something I really want to draw that I could never squeeze in, I might add some of them in here just to do more botanicals because I never really draw fruit and vegetables. So that might be really fun. And then that's just the final back page. So that is what my planner is looking like 1 month in. It's kind of simple. It's all I need for this year. And I think it's covering everything pretty well. So let's get on to the second thing I want to talk about this week. Okay, I wanted to try something really quick. I had an idea. I was out in the yard and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have sort of like flower or plant relief prints, sort of, and put those into my Celebrating Sunshine sketchbook. So what I have is just a test piece from the Strathmore 500 roll. And I thought I would try a couple different things. So some of these things I have are wet. It's been very rainy. So I have a clover that I want to try. I have, oh, here we go. Like, what are you doing off camera? I am going through the plants I picked. I have a nasturtium leaf. This is a smaller one. We try and landscape with edibles as much as possible, like edible plants. And then I have a little dandelion flower here. And I'm going to put some contact paper over it. This is just from our kitchen. And then I was gonna hit it with a mallet. Gosh, this is gonna be so loud, I apologize. Are you okay? Cover your ears. Okay, cover your ears. I don't know if this is gonna work. If it fails miserably, we can be like, we watch Kindra fail so we don't have to. Okay, that didn't hardly leave any print. There's gotta be a better way to do this because that is starting to do what I envisioned. So let me try and research if there's a better way. Hold on. Okay, I don't have any alum to use as a mordant, and I am doing this on paper and not fabric. So I thought maybe I'll just paint. Here are all the little bits I got. Paint on the leaf and then do a leaf press onto the paper and see how that looks real quick. Let's see. Let's see if we can get the look I'm going for here. All right. And these are just some all-surface acrylic paint I have. I will link everything in the description box. Oh, I don't know if this is gonna work. Oh, it's so delicate. Okay, let's see here. This might be really messy too, which that could be fun. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's try this. So this is a nasturtium leaf. Nasturtiums have beautiful flowers. They're orange or yellow. They have a peach. There's variegated. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Let's keep trying. Maybe a clover? Let's see. Let's see what might look good. At this point, I might as well just paint clovers on the thing, but I thought it would be fun to do some sort of impression or stamp. I don't know. It was just an idea I had. Celebrating my sunshiny day. This has much more yellow in it than the green I'm using, but I am not color matching because this is just a test. Let's see. Okay. Oh, my test pages are going to be awesome. That one's kind of fun. Boy, that looks very like clover. In the United States, we use clover as a symbol of St. Patrick's Day for some reason, so that might be kind of fun. I don't know. Let's see what we could do with a flower real quick. Do I have a good brush? I might have an okay brush. Let's see. Do you think this is gonna work? Okay, well, we're gonna find out the hard way together, okay?
Okay.
I don't know. It's just an idea. We don't have a lot blooming. The last of our nasturtiums died back, and then we have a bunch of California poppies. And the last flower that bloomed was around Christmas. We have a bunch of new plants in the yard, but we don't have any blooming currently, so that'll probably be in the next month or two. Get some beautiful oranges out in our lawn. Okay. Boy, this is messy. Your mama's messy. All right, you ready to see what this looks like?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if this is gonna look good. This might be really slapdash. Well, this is probably not the biggest success. I am probably just going to watercolor these designs instead of trying to print them like stamps. But this could be fun for children to do if they're into trying to paint and create designs and things, looking at form and shape for a study. So yeah, not a success, but now we know that. Okay, hold on. Okay, well, I tried to make stamps from the leaves and the flower with the paint, and I didn't care for it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take one and I'm going to figure out the exact color of this, and I think I already have this color made. I have my Winsor Newton Cotman here, and in the palette lid portion I have something really, really close. So I am going to add water to that, and I am going to paint little tiny clovers. I'll probably activate this one a little bit too. Alrighty. Using this one as an example. Alrighty. I love the little clovers. We have them everywhere. There isn't a lot that's in bloom and going on in our yard, but we definitely have all the clovers. So that's a lot of fun. And they're really quick to watercolor, as you can see. It's just some kind of conjoined hearts situation. And put one in the back that's maybe a little darker. All right. They're so much fun. And they're always around when it's shiny and the sun's out. And after a rain, they really, really sparkle. The rain sits on them, and that's always nice. So I thought I would just add a little section of them to my front cover, and then maybe do sort of a pen and ink doodle as well on top. We'll see. All fun things, to be sure. Alrighty. And this isn't a very wet brush. It looks kind of like it's super wet, but not really. The drier your brush, the drier these can become, and the sooner you can watercolor next to them and create other things without bleeding. So I plan on doing sort of a beginning watercolor video if folks are interested in a long format as reference. I would like to do some tutorials and teach folks things if they are interested in learning. Okay. All right, those are my little clovers on the front instead of stamping. I mean, I did try. I could tape that one in. That would be kind of cute. A little darker here. A little distinction. All right, there we go. Kind of sweet. Okay, so the second thing I wanted to try today is I wanted to try to make my own pigment. Now, a lot of these professional sort of pigments from nature recipes call for things like binders and preservatives. So if you want to make something longer lasting, I will link some really great articles that call for things like clove oil and gum arabic. Sometimes you can substitute that out for like honey or glycerin. I am just going to be using the bare bones of everything to see if this is something that I can actually do. Now it says to go through your soils, or you can use bark, you can use stone. If you're going to use something like that, you're going to need a mask with a respirator just so you don't inhale that dust. But you can use leaves and berries and flowers. It's February and I'm in the Northern Hemisphere, so we're pretty short on flowers. But that may be something I revisit later and boil and try and make a watercolor out of just for fun. But, so we're gonna start. Now this is what my soil looks like where I live. It's not very clay-based. It's very kind of, it's sandy, it's loomy. So what they say, now there's a couple different ways to do this, and you can make this as complicated as you want to ensure a greater degree of professionalism if you are doing something that you may later sell. I'm just going to be doing really simple sort of sketchbook studies, and these are things that are just going to stay in my sketchbook. So I don't really need it to be light fast or 100% everything. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to mortar and pestle this. I brought this up because I wanted to show you the difference between our soil and potting soil. You can see our soil's really dark. So let's mortar and pestle this, and hopefully it won't be too hard on your ears. I worry doing like repetitive noises can be very grating to some people, and that is not an enjoyable art experience. But I really, really wanted to try something kind of unique, kind of wild, and just see if I could make it work, if it would do a thing. Sometimes they say you can mix this with like flour to get a different consistency. There's so many different ways to do this. You can add egg and make it more tempura. You can make this more sort of oil paint. You can make this more watercolor. Again, I'll link a bunch of really cool things. If you are interested in going and getting outside, going for a nature hike, and then gathering some items to sort of crush. They say that you can, for bigger things, like if you have really hard clay soil, you know, kind of mallet the bigger chunks out first before you add them to a mortar and pestle. And then there's another step, which I am going to skip because I'm just not interested, and that's to sift it through a sifter. So if you're doing something like you're crushing stone, and like things like malachite, and those make really beautiful watercolors, again, wear a mask with a respirator, wear safety goggles, just in case little stone chips go flying. You don't want to wreck the hands that do the art. And then put that through sort of a sifter to make sure you've got the bigger chunks from your mortar and pestle. You can see like our dirt isn't even very dry because where we live there's so much humidity and moisture, and it's been raining, and this is the driest I could find. It was under our huge trees. So, and if you've seen my backyard inspiration video, you've seen our huge trees. So this is the driest dirt we have. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one of the shortcuts suggested. Now, this is my palette that I use for acrylic paint. This is just a sheet of scrap plexiglass. Plexiglass makes a great acrylic palette because if you forget and leave your paint on here and it dries, you can just peel it up and it doesn't stain. You can peel it up and throw it away, and then you're not putting acrylic paint down your drains when you clean. The only caveat to this is if you blend with like a palette knife, because this is plexiglass, the palette knife is going to scrape this and create a ton of scratches. So one of the quick things they said to do is you can take your earth pigment, your soil, and you can mix it with already pre-made acrylic paint, and then you know the preserver and the binding and everything's already in there. So I have Liquitex Heavy Body Acrylic. This is my titanium white. As you can see, I don't have much left. I did a no-buy last year. For those of you following my no-buy journey, here is some extra no-buy content. A lot of my stuff was almost all the way used up, but not quite. So this was one of the things that I almost used up, but couldn't count because I knew there was some left. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'll probably have another empties jar for the year and add the things that I almost used up in 2020 that I used up in 2023 instead. And we can see what for a second year in a row, the things I used up. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this dirt. Ooh, and I have fingernails, so this might not be too pleasant to look at. A spoon would have been a great idea. I'm up at my desk, so it's just easier. I know what the light looks like when it comes on video. I'm going to mix the dirt into, and I may not have mortared and pestled this small enough. Again, you want it really powdery, and I don't have powdery soil. This may be a video of fails. If this is a video of fails, you could be like, wow, Kendra tried tons of things this week, and she learned a tons of things. I'm kind of changing color. I have lots of sticks, lots of twigs. I don't know. Well, you can kind of see it becoming a lighter brown. I just think I might need a little bit of water. Let me get a little bit of water real quick. Okay. My sink isn't too far. Hence why I work in my office. Okay. Let's add a bunch of water here and see if we can smooth this out. Let's salvage this color. This would make a really pretty light brown. I love brown. Isn't that weird? It would be fun to go to a variety of places or cities and collect little bits of earth from all those areas and have a variety of soil samples. And then you could make, when you're filling out your sketchbook or creating, it could be of that place with earth from that place. It would be such a fun way to do landscape painting and creating. All right, I think that's a little lighter than white. I have a bit here of scrap paper. Let's see if we can move this stuff up a little bit. Oh, there goes my computer. Hi, computer. Oh, I have very much added texture to the paint. If you are looking to add texture to your paint, all right, there's a little flower here. Is this a success? It kind of works. It's very grainy and gritty. I don't mind it. I really created sort of a taupe color, maybe, would be the best way to define that. I created a taupe with our soil. So I guess if you're out of brown, one, you can use coffee, because coffee is great to watercolor with. Or two, you can grab some of your soil outside, your dirt, and you can use it for creating texture, for darkening your acrylic paints a little bit. This needs a little bit more water for sure. This is wild. This is a feather. There. So I tried it. It's interesting. I like this color. It's really pretty. If I wanted to have saved this, I would have to make a stay wet palette. And the best way to make a stay wet palette for acrylic paint is to take a Tupperware container. One of my really old early videos is how to make a stay wet palette. And you put damp paper towel on the bottom, and then you put like wax paper over that, and then you put the paint on that, and the damp from the wet paper towel sort of keeps the paint from drying out, and then you put a lid on it. So just any Tupperware container you have, paper towel, a mister, water to get your paper towel wet, and then a little piece of wax paper ought to do it. It might be fun just to do little abstracts, huh? These are my earth bubbles. It's a pretty color. And then if I wanted to add some other pigments to this and keep changing it, I could. So that is how you take your dirt and make a new color. That is so wild to me. Again, this wouldn't be something that I would sell or gift. This would just be for like sketchbook studies. Just because I don't know long term what the paper is going to look like. Is this something that's going to fade? Obviously my sketchbooks don't sit in the sun, but is it something that's going to fall apart because of the individual granules? I'm not sure. So I just thought I would try it, and then we'll kind of see if I can add some of this to my Sunshine sketchbook. Okay, so here's my Celebrating Sunshine sketchbook. I made this with skewers and cut sheets of paper. This was my previous week's video. So I'm going to turn to a new page. And this is the piano hinge binding. Everything lays perfectly flat. In fact, it can even go a little farther. So I have squeezed out some blue and yellow. I have some plain titanium white. And then I have this sort of, I'm calling it earth taupe, the color I made from dirt in our backyard. So I am just going to draw and paint something in my sketchbook, because I really want to sort of memorialize making this color, and I want to use this color. And I just think it's really cool that I'm using things from the backyard. Now this is not the best green combination the world has ever seen. I have cadmium yellow here. This is just the acrylic paint I have left. So I am just going to use it up as I have it. And I thought I would just acrylic paint a leaf. I just have to make sure that my skewers don't end up in paint. So we're gonna try and keep this all on camera and see if I can get this done and create this. And I thought I would paint a variegated monstera leaf and see if I can do this with some of the colors I have. Now I know this is a little too blue. This isn't quite green enough. But artistic interpretation, so artistic licensing. I just want to add a little bit of color to my acrylic here. And I have a different brush for every single color I'm going to use, so I don't have to worry about cleaning them as I go, which makes it much quicker for doing an acrylic demo. I just have to make sure that when I am done painting with acrylic paint, that these get washed right away, because acrylic paint can't sit on bristles. It absolutely destroys paintbrushes. It's not like watercolor, where watercolor you can kind of leave them to their own devices and they can sit there, you know, on your desk for a month, and then you can just kind of re-wet it and it's fine. This doesn't do that. So you want to make sure that these get cleaned really good so you don't have to throw them away. I'm just gonna thin this out a little bit. Make sure I keep track of which brush does what. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay. And then I will go back in and probably add white highlights and some of that. But I just thought it would be fun. It's kind of sunshiny today. The sun's trying its hardest to come out, and I appreciate you, sunshine. It's very humid outside today. So it's definitely, even though it's not super warm, bug spray. I can't stress that enough, how important bug spray is. Especially because I get bit a lot. Delicious. Okay. Alrighty. This is fun. That doesn't have to be, you know, if you're just doing sketches in your sketchbook, they can be studies on shape. Leaves are a very, very fun thing to study and examine. You got like ginkgo leaves, oak leaves, maple leaves. You could really do a lot of things with that if you're trying to get into botanicals and figure some of that out. All right, so there's my leaf. Oh my goodness. This is my leaf using soil from the backyard in my sketchbook. How much fun is that? Isn't that just like the wildest thing? Oh, this is so much fun. Thank you for like hanging out with me and doing this with me. This is so cool. I can't wait till this dries. Okay. I could stop messing with it, but I just don't want to. Okay, all right, so there's my leaf, my variegated Monstera leaf. Okay, so another thing I wanted to do is I wanted to take my little microscope camera, and this is what it looks like, and I wanted to look at what the paint looks like up close, like regular paint and the paint I made. Are you ready? Okay, so this is just our dirt up close. How absolutely wild is that? And then I want to kind of see what the paint looks like. Let's do that next. Okay, so this is my palette. That's plexiglass. This is the blue color that I mixed with the yellow. This is my green. You can see how smooth that is. No particles. Isn't this just wild? Here's the wet paint. I'm trying not to touch it. Okay. Here's the white. It's still wet and clumpy. Ew. Okay, let's look at the dirt paint I made. Okay, so here's the soil. And this is what the soil and the paint mixture look like. How absolutely wild is that? I just think up close things are absolutely fascinating. I hope you enjoyed this portion. This is just too cool. You can see I did not mortar and pestle that enough. That's hilarious. Okay, let's go back to the rest of the video. Okay, I thought I would show you what I've been doing in my Stology this past week. I did a journal entry. This is all metallics, a Sarasa in copper, Uniball in gold, and a Pilot in silver. So just for fun, just to put my thoughts to paper on the day. This is an owl I did. This is just a micron pen. This is about 2.5 hours. So that's what that looks like. Here's a coyote. Really feeling my animals here. This is an African wild dog. I just think they are absolutely stunning. They have the best, most beautiful round ears. This is colored pencil, Faber-Castell Polychromos. I was trying to do sort of a faux sunprint cyanotype. I don't know if I pulled it off. I just wanted to try it. Here are some mushrooms if you're interested in mycology. This is a micron and a Posca in gold. Here's just a portrait, you know, for when you're feeling stretched and pulled in too many directions. Sometimes it's okay to put your thoughts and feelings on the page. This is what I did yesterday. This again is colored pencil. These are nasturtiums, the leaves and the flowers. This took 3 hours. So for me, doing like realistic botanicals, it is a very time-consuming process, which is why I tend to stick to the A6 size, which is half of this. You take an A5, cut it in half, you have an A6. Yeah, it's really hard to fill a page doing hyper-realistic stuff. So just, you know, set your expectations to realistic with your time constraints when you go to create stuff like this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope your week is full of art and creating and sunshine. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.